What if a hacker could snoop on your CCTV, or someone could turn your fridge off from the other side of the world?
My name is Luke Potter. I'm the Cybersecurity Practice Director at SureCloud, and I effectively head up our cybersecurity division.
We set up a real home with smart gadgets, from coffee machines to cameras, and then a team of researchers hacked it.
So we're approached by Which to perform effectively a simulated attack, or traditionally we would call it a red team engagement in the commercial world, against an individual and his property, in effect, in order to identify vulnerability both in the individual's online life as well as the internet connected devices within the target premises. We always expect in the commercial world, when we do commercial tests like this, to find vulnerabilities, and that's through a mixture of new vulnerabilities we identify throughout the exercise for our clients, but equally also from vulnerabilities that are publicly disclosed out there in the industry for us to effectively use on tests and demonstrate those to clients. As part of this test, there was an array of vulnerabilities that we found in the equipment that were already there, but also new attack vectors we identified throughout the course of the engagement.
Hackers hunt for leaked passwords or try to trick you into revealing them.
We took it from sort of three angles and three perspectives, just to focus obviously first of all on the identity side of things. That's taking literally the name of the individual. Initially we were just purely given the name of the target, if you will, in the exercise, and using open research through online activity, effectively what's out there in the public world, public internet, about this individual. We managed to identify the individual's date of birth, the home address, and obviously therefore the target property address, as well as information about their partners, their children, and much more about their lifestyle and where they, their hobbies and things to that effect. We also utilised public data leaks, if you will, that are out there in the public domain, identified this individual through one of these leaks, and therefore, off the back of that, identified a number of online accounts where the user or this individual was using a password very similar to or the same as initially identified in one of these public leaks. So it effectively allowed us to take full control of this individual's online life, purely from a remote perspective, literally over the internet. We could have been anywhere in the world to perform this activity.
If they've got into your home Wi-Fi or compromised an online account, they could seize control of your smart devices. So if your fridge is connected to a smart plug, there goes the weekly shop.
This is the scenario where effectively we are performing the red team engagement or the activity against the individual's technical setup or home connected network, but over the internet. We could again be anywhere geographically, and effectively we don't need to be local in this scenario, but at seeing what we can find over the internet. So can we get into this individual's home connected network using attacks from the internet from a remote perspective? So that's effectively looking at what's there, targeting the individual and seeing if we can compromise that network remotely. Again, just to track back, taking what we traditionally do in a commercial world for what we would call an external penetration test, but taking that into the consumer environment for this consumer's life.
This cuddly toy cat enables friends and family to record and send messages to a child. However, using a known vulnerability, our researchers were able to hack the cat and get it to play messages of their own.
These kinds of attacks, we would have to be geographically local to the target premises or the target individual or equally the target company. And this is where we're looking for communication protocols or ways to access systems or devices inside the property, being maybe outside the property or next door in the scenario that we used in this activity. So effectively we're looking for weaknesses on the devices that we can't attack or exploit over the internet, but actually are local to those systems, so we have to be in the region of the property. Equally, they could also be opportunistic based attacks. So these could be attacks that effectively you aren't necessarily the target, but because the attacker is local to you, you are falling victim to these attacks.
Alexa, I'm hungry. Order me some cat food.
The top search result for cat food is Whiskas Wet Cat Food 84 by 100 grams patch for 1+ adult. Would you like to buy it?
Yes, please.
First and foremost, the most important fact here is to make sure that consumers keep devices up to date. So in the commercial world, there's often well-established practices to keep systems, servers, laptops, etc. patched and up to date. You maybe have on your home laptop, on your home devices, auto-update mechanisms there. But those same concepts have to be expanded out into your internet-connected devices. So making sure that your internet-connected coffee machine, if there's an update available for it, you are applying that in a timely fashion, because very often these updates will contain security fixes or vulnerability remediation fixes for weakness or vulnerability or risk in the devices themselves. Equally as well, just to expand that further, consumers, I would definitely recommend, are taking advantage of the manufacturer's subscription list for notification of vulnerabilities. They're keeping an eye on their website and things to that effect, but also being involved and watching the news for when new attacks do occur on these devices to make sure they're following the guidance and advice out there to protect themselves from attack in effect.
We had a bit of fun with our hack, but there's clearly a risk that this toy could be used in much more malicious ways.
I think there's a big onus on the industry or the manufacturers of these devices to make sure that they're updating and remediating vulnerabilities in a timely fashion. Just to go back into the commercial world environment, often where vulnerabilities are found on systems or software, they are disclosed to the vendors ethically. The vendors will then quite quickly, very often react and release patches or updates to fix those vulnerabilities. The internet-connected world, if you will, and the manufacturers of these devices, those practices, as we see currently, in my view, are not necessarily well established. So there's two sides to that. A, the vendors and the manufacturers having processes and procedures in place to take on board these recommendations from the security community, applying, developing patches and remediation, but also having adequate systems in place and processes in place to inform the consumer when a vulnerability is on a system, and then how to remediate it through an update or a firmware patch or whatever it may be.